Welcome back. So today we're going to be doing another edition of the budget series of multi-tools, and it's going to be with another BiBury. Now we've just done two of them. One was a $10 multi-tool. The other one was the Wave clone. Now I will also mention I got contacted by BiBury today, and they gave me a discount code for this that brings it down to the $30 price point at $29.99. So that code will be in the description. So that's a pretty significant difference from the $48 that was available before. So I will leave it there at $29, really good. But today we're going to review another BiBury. Now the base price for this is $24. I also was given discount codes for both variants of these. That's not going to affect what I was going to say. I kind of already had this video in mind because I did purchase this myself. But it's good because it will drop the price from $24 down to about $18 for both variants. So I'll leave that in the description as well. Those last for about a week. But you should see from time to time, you should see it on discount. And it will also still be pretty good at the $24 price point. So with all that out of the way, let's unbox it and get to it. Okay, so here we go. So this is the tool we're going to be reviewing today. So we have a $10 version. We have what is currently a $30 multi-tool that is all pretty good for the budget. But this is actually the one turns out I'm probably most excited for. And it's because it has a feature that you don't usually find in a multi-tool of this price point. So at what is about or just under $20, you're getting a multi-tool that has a full hex bit driver, and it comes with double-sided bits that will let you gain a lot more functionality. So we're just going to go ahead and go straight into what is probably the most important feature on this tool, and that is the bit driver. Now this is a full hex driver. I wasn't 100% sure when I bought it whether it was actually the correct size for standard hex bits. Turns out it is. Let me go grab one of those. Aha. Now, so this is a standard hex bit. Now, watch what happens when we do this. It goes all the way in, and now this particular one doesn't go all the way in and stop, but if you see, none of it's exposed. So this is a standard length. Let me get this out. So we're going to have to pull this out with another pair of pliers. So for standard hex bits, it's not going to work appropriately. However, we can use bit extenders, which should help us dramatically. So what we can do though is we can use longer bits like this one, which hold pretty well. They have a magnet in there. Or we can start out with a bit extender that actually goes all the way in. So this particular one is not long enough to engage the magnet, but a bit extender would offer the ability to use the smaller hex bits and may even give you a collar to capture the screw so that you can use it one-handed. The bits that it comes with, I think it's kind of interesting they're so long. Now on one hand, they're really good because they let you get into small spaces. On the bad side, you can't put them in with the multi-tool, which is kind of an annoyance. What I think is interesting is if you look at the length of these style double-sided bits. Now this will get locked up because it's just too much retention, but you see how it actually extends the right amount, which tells me that the Wera double-sided bits, which are quite good, would probably work very well inside this multi-tool. And best of all, one of the things you'll get is the ability to actually put one in the frame. And in this case, you're probably going to want to have the Phillips because it has a number of flatheads built into it. And we'll just go through those real quick. So you have, of course, your pretty standard bottle opener flathead combo and your can opener flathead combo on this tool. So those are your primary drivers. But because it comes with this bit kit, we actually have quite a few options. And being able to then combine it with other bits that you can then purchase down the line, I think that makes it pretty unique. Even the Leatherman, as I said, does not have that. And something like the other, I don't know what we call it, the 19-in-1, where it requires the ball detent without modification, you know, that doesn't even have a magnet. So, and this also, I should mention, locks in a 90-degree form. Now, this gives me the impression that it will hold up to the kind of abuse that I would expect in 90 degrees with just my hands. Now, if I try to use some sort of wrench and I try to torque it, I might break something. But other than that, I think I'm pretty confident that this will hold. I'll probably always end up using it in this orientation. Because it is wide enough, it can actually get some decent torque without ever having to worry about that angle. And if I really need to, I can pull it open and actually just twist like so. This is the big claim to fame here, and I think it's the biggest reason why this is a consideration for a good budget tool. Now, I've skipped a couple important steps, so we didn't talk a bit about dimensions, but you can trust me when I say this is a truly dedicated holster carry. This is not something you would want to carry in your pocket at 330 grams or 11 and a half ounces. So this is a big boy tool, and it's not light by any stretch of the imagination. It's also quite wide. I kind of wish that was less of the case, but I'm willing to take it for the price and as, of course, the tool set. Now, it does come with two blades. It comes with a straight blade. We have here, as well as, excuse me, as well as a serrated blade. Let's just do a quick cut test, see how sharp it is. It's actually ridiculously sharp. Much sharper than the $10 variant. Now, this is a hollow ground blade, which I think is interesting because the slightly more expensive one is flat ground, is what appears to be flat ground. So a little bit different there as well. Not a problem for me. I kind of like the sliciness of it. And the serrated blade, I mean, it looks fine. It's serrated blades. If you don't have a scissor or you don't have a file, I think inclusion of serrated blade is kind of a cheap out, if you will. Like it's something you just put in and say, hey, we did it. Speaking of saws and files, we do have a saw and we do have a file in this one. We do not have a scissor. So that if that's something that's a requirement for you, this is not going to be for you. I will say the crosscut's not bad. It definitely passes the initial inspection. Whether it's hardened well enough, we'll have to tell over time. A lot of times they are hardened properly, but still, I find that crosscut files have very moderate use, at least for me specifically, but maybe that's different for you. And of course, we have the measuring tape on the back, not particularly useful, but it's there. And it looks like it is properly set at 0 at the end, so you can use it as a depth gauge of some sort. Now, this has the same locking mechanism that we found on the $10 compact multi-tool. And I actually really like this because it enables you to have one lock for all the implements. Nothing, you don't need liner locks, which means you can end up making it much more compact while still having one-handed capability. There is a potential, I think, with this locking mechanism to make something a little bit more high-end, which is compact like this, but maybe with better materials. But for heavy-duty purposes, I think this covers a lot of ground. The real star, though, which was a bit of a shock, is this awl. Now, this awl reamer combo has some geometry that is pretty interesting because not only, and we'll get a little closer here, not only did they properly sharpen it and give it the right taper, it's also curved to force the drilling to happen at the tip. And if you look at the back, they have rounded it so that it slips inside the hole once again forcing the bladed edge to come in contact with the wood. That's a lot of really specific geometry features that I haven't seen in many other multi-tools. I think the only other reamer awl that's even similar to this is the one that I found on my KF4. And this is probably the best awl that I think Leatherman has ever made. All in all, and I don't want to take too much time with this, I think this is a very good budget car tool. And because it can take standard hex bits, I think that's where it really shines. What I would do, if it were me, is I would keep this in the holster. Now, I do wish that this holster had a, what do you call it? Like the little plastic clip that hooks on, because I like being able to unattach it, whenever I need to. But what I would do is I would get some wearer bits, so I could leave one inside and have some on the outside. If I needed something extra long, what I would do is I would store it inside the sheath itself. There's still some extra space. So you could go ahead and put extra long bits, like Torx that you need access to inside a vehicle, that were specialized for whatever I was trying to use. So this would be a great toolbox style multi-tool that is in the budget realm. So I'm pretty happy with it in general for the $24 price. So last thing we need to talk about here is, of course, the plier head. Now this is a standard kind of spring-loaded plier, pretty big and beefy, but still has a precision tip. So I'm pretty happy with that. I don't see many of these plier heads breaking from people I follow on multitool.org and other places where I've seen this tool get talked about, or varieties like it. What usually breaks on a tool like this is the flatheads, or somebody who uses the file for prying. That's usually what happens. Same thing with the blades. They tend to snap if you try to do something you're not supposed to do. For $20 approximately, depending on what discounts you get, that's pretty good. I don't think we're going to get much better. And I think really the big value here comes in the hex bit driver. I think that this tool alone kind of solidifies its usability, and the fact that it comes with a bit kit with a pretty good assemblance of bits and are also long enough to get into tight spaces. This is a really good combo. So check it out if you want to. There might be other options we'll be talking about very soon in the $20 price point. I don't think many of them have bit holders that lock. So this would still be a good option, potentially as a car bag. So I will let you guys go for the day, and we'll talk again soon about more budget options that you guys can find.